Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we have all of our components here for Artemis 4 at long last, and kind of one from Artemis 5. It's not relevant though. That is absolutely fine for right now. We need to get our crew transferred over to the starship, and we need to do a moon landing. So let's get our crew transferred over. First things first. Apparently we can't move this window. Okay, that's exciting. We're just going to have Jeb transfer over to here, if I can select it. There we go. Apparently that's the angle that we need. And we can transfer Bill over here as well, and finally Bob. We need all three of our crew transferred over to the starship. Perfect. Now, we've got these struts on here for right now, and we're going to have Bill EVA, and we're just going to remove those. We have SAS off for the moment, so it should be reasonably fine. Actually, maybe we should just move them here temporarily. Because when we come back, we're going to want SAS to be on, and that's going to create some problems with all of this offset mass over here wiggling around. So we should probably strongly consider doing this. So I'll just put one of these guys... where's a successful location? I guess here? Sure, that'll do. And we'll put the fourth one somewhere around here. Should be fine. Okay, so we'll just do that, and then we'll board, and everything here is strutted on. That should be absolutely a-okay. Let's undock this, and we're going to take the HLS and head on out. So at this point, we could get ourselves a little bit of... Okay, we don't have RCS in the forward and back directions. That is noted. And this barely put any power into our separation. Okay. Ooh, we're actually heading back in? And then we bounced. Now we have some power in our separation. Okay, good. That'll do. That's an awkward situation. We'll probably want to do something about that in the future. Okay, let's go to retrograde here. And that'll be a little while that's going to take for us to turn, because this thing is heavy. No doubt about that. We've got a lot of fuel in our HLS. It is fully fueled right now, which it really doesn't need to be. It has enough fuel for probably 2 landings and ascents at this point. So that, of course, means that there's a lot of extra weight here. We can see our thrust to weight is only 1.74. So it's going to burn extra fuel because of our low thrust to weight, but I'm not concerned about that. We've got lots of fuel here. No problem at all. So let's get ourselves into position for a retrograde burn here, and we are going to slow ourselves down, at least somewhat. I want to determine where we want to do this retrograde burn, though. It's not here. I want to land on the day side, which is like from here to here. So sometime around the apoapsis, I want to do a retrograde burn and just bring it down to something kind of like that. And we're actually going to end up landing closer to here, probably, but let's see what that ends up looking like. Okay, let's align to that node. That's going to be in about 13 minutes, so we're going to be off a little bit. And our power is draining at this time because we don't have access to any light, which is, of course, problematic. And is one of the main reasons why I want to delay this burn. That and the fact that it's easier to see in the daytime. You get shadows for your landing burn and all that fun stuff. Okay, let's warp on forward. This is going to be about a 56 meter per second deceleration to get us onto an impact trajectory with the terrain. And once we're on an impact trajectory, we'll just bring this on down. So about 1 minute here looks good. Our power is in a much better situation now, in theory. Okay, commencing burn now. Beautiful. So this will be a little bit of a lengthy burn, especially on the landing side. We'll see what kind of a landing burn we see over here, although it won't be entirely accurate because of our horizontal speed. Suicide burn length of 3 minutes. Okay. That is a fairly long landing burn, no doubt about that, but it's not actually going to be that length. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at our trajectory here, and sometime around here or so, I want to do a retrograde burn that's going to burn off all of that horizontal speed. So 421 meters per second, approximately. It'll be a little higher, probably, because we're falling towards our apoapsis, or rather, our periapsis. I suppose over moon, we could almost say paraloon, but paramoon? I don't know, maybe. So that's going to be about a 2-minute burn, 500 meters per second or so. Noted. That's fine. We're going to start that burn in about 11 minutes. And we'll see how that ends up going. That is going to burn off some amount of this fuel, no doubt about that. And we'll be a lot lower to the surface when that happens, so it should be absolutely fine. And we just want to be dropping basically straight down. So we're just going to warp on forward. Cool. We're about 70 kilometers up right now. We are on an impact trajectory here. I want to be clear about that. And I'm going to physics warp here because we're not quite in the correct position. We've got about 40 seconds. Okay. 30, 20, 10, and I can't really see, but there we go. Cool. There's not enough contrast here. I wish that this had a drop shadow or an outline. That would be nice. It's very difficult for me to read that. Maybe non-colorblind people wouldn't have a problem with that, but that is definitely difficult for me to read. So we're going to commence this burn here, and this is going to eat up a lot of our landing burn DV, and that's good. That's exactly what we want. I am going to toggle our landing gear, although we don't really need it right now. And hopefully we're not going to land in too rough of a location. We'll see what this ends up looking like. We've got about 400 meters per second to burn here. Looks good. And we can see we are getting rid of some vertical speed as well. Really, I want this to be at horizontal velocity minus. So let's just work only on this horizontal velocity. The vertical speed can increase for right now. I'm okay with that. At least for this exact moment. Once the retrograde and the node basically coincide, then it might be okay. Which, they're getting close. Yeah, that would probably be absolutely fine. So right about now, we'll head on back to that node, and that is going to get rid of some of this vertical speed as well. Looks much better. Cool. So we're about halfway through this deceleration burn here. We just need to get rid of a lot of our horizontal speed. I'm going to physics warp through some of this. About 50 seconds left on this burn. 40 seconds. And we can see we're definitely changing a lot here. So the horizontal speed is going down nicely. It's not exactly where I want it to be yet. I'm coming out of this burn. I'm not caring about the actual maneuver here. And I want this to be horizontal velocity minus. Thank you very much. We're only at about 1 meter per second here. I guess we'll go to surface velocity minus. That's okay. And we can see this is going to be about a 2-minute landing burn now. That is a pretty spicy landing burn. No doubt about that. We're going to want to be a little careful about that. And where exactly are we going to be coming down here? Right on the edge of this crater. That's probably not exactly where we want to be coming down. Okay, let's do a small change to this trajectory. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of this horizontal speed. So the way that we're going to do that is by slightly overshooting this marker. And just letting that drop. Okay, that's good enough. That'll do for the time being. We're still basically right on that edge, and I don't love that situation. But we'll see what this ends up actually looking like. There will be a little bit of rotation underneath us here. So it should be reasonably fine. It's going to be looking like a 250 or so meter per second burn to get this landing done. Okay, sounds good. We do not need to have this shield open, I suppose. We can close that. Let's just bring this right on down. Where is Kerbal? Kerbal's over here? Okay, noted. So we'll have no control issues in that regard. Once we get down here, we can adjust our landing location a little bit, but turn speed is going to be a bit of a problem. And that's just kind of endemic to this HLS design. There's not a lot that we're going to be doing about that. We could strap on, like, another reaction wheel down here, maybe. although that's pretty likely to get destroyed in a hard landing. So I'm not so sure about that one. Okay, we are at about 1 meter per second horizontal speed, but that is okay. I like having some amount of drift here. It's going to be dropping us just inside this lip of this crater, so like right here or so. I don't know about that positioning. We'll see what that ends up looking like. And it looks like we're a little late on our burn here. We should probably commence that. Okay. That said, thrust to weight will change as we burn fuel here. We should probably end up being okay on that, but that is pretty late, to be honest. So let's bring this right on down. We've got about 190 meters per second to go, but we're still 13 kilometers up. How accurate is this, I'm wondering? Our surface velocity is not, like... I don't know, this doesn't feel quite right to me. Something feels off there. We're 10 kilometers up, moving at about 150 meters per second right now. And I mean, our thrust to weight is going up, no doubt about that. But we have a lot of fuel on this thing, no doubt about that. 120 meters per second, 8 kilometers up. This is going to be spicy. I definitely overshot this, and that's my own fault. 100 meters per second now, 7 kilometers up. I think we might be okay here. That said, I don't love this positioning, but we can't really do anything about it right now. So we're about 60 meters per second, 5 kilometers up. I think we're okay on the... Yeah, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. Like I said, this didn't feel quite right. And that is absolutely okay on that regard. I'd kind of prefer to land over here. So I would like to see about going in that direction. Let's just bump ourselves off over this way a little bit. We can see our landing marker. And I definitely want to continue to head that way. Now we're going to start going up here shortly, and that is absolutely fine. Okay, let's make our way back over. I'm going to turn off our burn for the moment. But we're going to need to recommence the burn up here in order to hold this attitude. Okay. So something about like this. We're going to burn very gently here, because we need to head back towards that up marker, right? No doubt about that. We are not heading towards that up marker very quickly. Okay. Let's commence this burn to turn a little bit faster. This turning speed is going to be the death of us. Okay. This is not an ideal landing location. No doubt about that, and we're not going to land here. If we can avoid it. And I think we can avoid it. So I'm going to put us on kill rot here. Yep, we're good. Okay, we're going to head off this direction. We want to land more like up here. Okay. There we go. That is a better landing location. Let's just bring this guy right on around. Using some monoprop here. And we're going to burn out this way and heading towards surface velocity minus. Okay. This is going to be spicy again. But let's just bring this right on in. Okay. Turn speed is absolutely dicey. No doubt about that. But we got there. Let's just bring this down, decelerating a good amount. We need to decelerate a fair amount more here. Okay, good deceleration. And we're about to have touchdown here. Touchdown. Ooh, we're bouncing pretty hard here. We're bouncing too hard. We're gonna have to try this again. Okay. Putting this on kill rot, because I don't actually want to do this rotation. Okay, we're going to need to bring this up and over this way. We need a lot more turn time. A whole lot more turn time. Okay, we're moving towards surface velocity minus. That bounce was insane. I'm not going to lie. That bounce was absolutely insane, and we need to bring it back this way. Okay. Now we're heading towards surface velocity minus once more. And that bounce was that insane because we have so much weight on this thing, right? Absolutely a crap ton of weight. Okay, let's bring this in one more time. Cool. Just keeping a close eye on the situation here. We're going to need to turn a little bit faster here, and that is indeed exactly what we're angling to do. Okay. We brought it down to a hover, and let's just let this drop. Okay. Are we going to settle in here? Yes. That got spicy. No doubt about it, that got spicy. We burned a lot more fuel than we needed to on that one. But that's okay. We have lots of fuel. We have so much fuel. And that is the benefit of doing this. There's a lot of detriment to this particular method, but that is definitely the benefit. So let's have Bob EVA. And Bob is going to head out over here and do a little bit of things. For the moment, we're not too concerned about doing any major missions. Our primary mission is still construction of the Lunar Gateway. And that will remain the case for a little while here. So that seems absolutely fine. We can have everybody EVA here and head on out. And they're just going to position down over this way and run around and have a good time. We're not here to do any science or anything at this time. And in the future, our mission is likely going to become building a mining base here. And then, well, not necessarily here, but building a mining base on the moon somewhere. And then having that be able to do the refueling for the Lunar Gateway rather than the existing tanker system, which is kind of not ideal for obvious reasons. We would prefer to have the fuel be generated here. And so that will likely end up being the plan. So once that's done, that'll probably be an end to this series, but we do have a couple more flights of Lunar Gateway construction. So looking at what we've got here, Artemis 4 is what we're doing right now. Artemis 5 we've kind of already done in a way, so we're probably going to jump to Artemis 6, which is going to be the crew and science airlock capsule. And then after that, we'll probably just start, we're going to call it complete, the Lunar Gateway, and we'll just start working on the mining base at that point. And that's probably going to be mostly an unmanned delivery. We'll see how that ends up going. But for now, Bill can hop right on back in. We'll grab on here, and we will board. Fantastic. Jeb, I hope you had a good time on the surface. It's time to head back. Jeb really didn't want to head back, and he decided that he was going to bounce off of the engine instead. Good job, Jeb. Good job. Let's try that again, Jeb. You really got to get inside. So he's just going to bounce off of here now. Okay. Jeb, can you stop this? He only recovered right before hitting the ground. Jeb really likes bouncing. Okay. Let's try it this way, Jeb. You're just going to stay far away from the rocket until you are at a high enough altitude. You good here, Jeb? Yeah, Jeb's got this now. Fantastic. So in goes Jeb. He just wasn't quite done on the moon's surface yet. That's what that means. So we're going to have Bob head up over here. And in goes Bob. What are you grabbed onto here, Bob? I have no idea what Bob was grabbed onto there. That was awkward. He grabbed nothing. Let's try that again. In you go, Bob. There you go. And now we can get out of here. Of course, we want to go into a retrograde orbit. And I want it to be a relatively low retrograde orbit. So let's lift off. And we're going to toggle our gear action group. I want to kill rot, and we do want to head down in this 270 direction. It was convenient that that was the way that surface velocity was going. That is indeed the direction that we want to head. So I'm just going to rotate us over here while we get some altitude. We're going to need altitude to clear these crater walls, for sure. Okay, and let's make our way on over now that we have about 6 kilometer altitude. We're going to want to have more altitude, of course. We're going to put this in an orbit of somewhere around probably 20 kilometers will be more than sufficient. Although it looks like we don't have thrust to weight to just burn pure horizontal, so we're going to have to head over towards prograde. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, the time to apoapsis was going down there, so we just lack thrust to weight for that. And that's reasonably expected, given how heavy this lander is. It's incredibly, incredibly heavy. Fantastic. So we're just kind of sitting on prograde-ish for right now. And we're just bringing our apoapsis height up to about 20 kilometers. It will definitely be a fair amount of DV to get this thing accelerated up. Like, this does burn a lot of fuel. No doubt about it. But to be clear, that landing was incredibly inefficient. Incredibly inefficient. So that is absolutely fine. I'm just watching our time to apoapsis here. I think it'll be okay. I don't think we'll have an issue with being at horizontal velocity up at this time. And we do want to park it down this way just a smidge. We are lacking a little bit of directionality in this regard. So we'll just do a little bit of correction there. That was maybe a little too much correction. So back out the other way briefly. We can see time to apoapsis is going up now. That looks great. So we're going to have no problem whatsoever. We are very close to orbital velocity at this point. And we're at 10 kilometer apoapsis, so we just want to bring that up to about 20. Cool. And time to apoapsis is going up very rapidly now. So that is looking phenomenal. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 is good enough. Sure. It's going to go very quickly beyond there. So that's our periapsis right now. We are technically in orbital velocity at this point, but we definitely want to circularize this. We don't want to be sitting at a 5 kilometer periapsis. That would not go well. So we're just going to park it at around 20 kilometers-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that all looks good. We are going to orient for this burn, which will be in about 13 minutes. Fantastic. And then we'll head back to the Lunar Gateway, and we take the Orion back to Kerbal. That is the idea here. Excellent. I do think bringing a reaction wheel to upgrade this would be a useful thing. The question is, where would we place it? I don't know. We'd have to think about that. For the time being, let's warp forward 11 minutes. And we're just going to cruise on through here. About 5 more minutes until we reach our apoapsis. Okay, coming out of the warp here. We are a little bit off in terms of our trajectory here, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Or rather, in terms of our heading, I should say. And 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is going to be a very minor burn. I'm not going to do a full burn here. It's only like 10 meters per second that we needed to circularize. So that's absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever there. So next up, of course, we're going to be heading over to the Starship tanker ship, which this, I don't know why it called it that. This should be the Lunar Gateway. We can rename it, but we are about 0.6 degrees off. I don't mind that. That should be good enough. Let's see what it would look like if we do a prograde burn around here. Okay, that timing is certainly non-ideal. If we bring this around to somewhere over here... Okay, that's a little awkward. We're going to have to wait in orbit. We are basically at the correct burn timing for it right now. We're going to have to wait like 2 orbits. Yeah. Awkward timing is awkward, but it's okay. It's only 38.7 meters per second to get there, but it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to head over to the Lunar Gateway and get these guys headed on home. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.